Social Perspectives is brought to you by Everett & Kennings.
Hello and welcome to Social Perspectives. I'm Jay Gentile Everett, and we are excited to have you join us for today's show. We are indeed living in very interesting times. We have heard of alternative facts. We've heard do not believe what you see, do believe what you do not see, like new huge towering walls being erected on the southern border of our nation. And do not worry about its cost because Mexico will pay for it. Words like hoaxes, disaster, the biggest of everything. This is the greatest growth in the history of our country. I've done more for the African American community than any other president in our history. Wow, that's very interesting. And these are interesting assertions. But among the kaleidoscope of assertions that have been made, one thing that I have found to be true. Let's find out. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Social Perspectives. We have heard these types of words for quite a while now. And whether you are a Republican or Democrat, no one can hear these words and not come away with some opinion about the veracity of these assertions. First, irrespective of your political stripe, I believe most Americans do believe words, actions, behavior, and truth still matter, particularly if we're going to be a society of order. While placing degrees on sin should not be a practice to any of us or for any of us, this is not a theological presentation. It's a political one. Those who serve in the highest political capacities in our land, words are significant and actions are paramount because there are immediate and inherent consequences that impact the innocent lives of those who just happen to live in America. Currently, we have a new president-elect and a current president who lost his election bid by the same number of electoral votes that he won 4 years ago. To this date, he has not accepted the election result. Consequently, he has not conceded to the president-elect. Yes, there have been shattered norms, as we can see. Many conclude as ostensible departures from dignity and truth. And the dignity itself has been denigrated by attaching pejorative monikers seemingly designed to paint opponents with the brush of being unfit to hold public office. The dissemination of profanity in public speeches, personnel hires, and head out of the door soon after in government, unlike any other time in modern history, for certain. And then there are the loyalists and the sycophants who seem to have accepted the required rule to be a sycophant rather than a courageous exception. As Americans, we have simply become a group of people attached to party as opposed to love of country. Has the presidency become denigrated and vilified because someone wants to hold on to power as if they were anointed by some divine right like the kings of old? Is being stripped of the office of president, does it do something about sense and semblance of order? What has happened now? Why cannot we accept the results? Why can't we just understand that in every election, someone is going to win, someone is going to lose? That is part of the democratic process. And whoever serves as president of the United States is not what's important. It's what that office represents with respect to American idealism. I just hope that we will understand that if you run for public office in America, you've already won because you are free to run. And being free to run for the office is the righteous rock that levels the playing field of equal opportunity. Perhaps there are those in our current society who have forgotten what makes America revered in our world. It has nothing to do with the names of people. It has everything to do with what the idea of America is about. Just a little while ago, I was told Georgia and other states that voted for the Democratic candidate this time, which put the candidate over the threshold of 270 electoral votes, which automatically conveys the reins of the presidency to its recipient, is again either having or is being suggested that they have yet another recount. We're talking about millions of votes being tallied again, and in some cases the third time. Why is there such a sinister attitude about the voting results? Someone was destined to lose. It happens. It is not a foreign concept that slipped in through some invisible cosmic insurgents. I pray there will be some significant political voice who could intervene and be that profile in courage and speak truth to power and reveal America is about an ideal and not an individual. You see, as individuals, we all will ultimately fade away and matriculate into the great order of the transition to study war no more. Others in America and peoples from all over the world, many of whom not yet born, will take our places and build on democracy and move it a little closer to that perfect union stated in our Constitution. But have no fear. America will rise and stand not only to meet the present crisis, but will remain intact and prepared to overcome the next one. We as Americans are blessed. We are bold. We know how to carry burdens. But most importantly, we are not built to break. We'll be right back. The Renaissance by JGE are shoes that were designed and inspired by the rise of Kamala Harris. The pink and green represent the sorority of which she's a member, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, from Howard University, established in 1908. The black sole on these shoes represent the HBCU from which she graduated, Howard University, and the gray panels that bring accent and glamour to this beautiful shoe represent the combination and the immersion of love from an integrated standpoint. These shoes reflect the life of this enormously gifted and talented scholar politician. She's showing us true love as is represented in the gray panels. Represent that love is validated when it is integrated. Get your pair now. Go to aliveshoes.com/renaissance by JGE-1 and get a pair of American history. Again, aliveshoes.com/renaissance by JGE-1 and get a pair of this incredible moment in our American history. Welcome back to Social Perspectives. In the game of politics, there has to be a winner, and unfortunately, there has to be a loser. These two diametrically opposing sides duel for the right to win, and therefore set in motion their vision for where they would like to see the country move. In our democracy, the citizens cast ballots on who they would like to see lead us from the Oval Office and occupy the White House. 4 years ago, a politically unknown, a kind of anomaly, a kind of unusual personality emerged against many career politicians who had vast governmental experience, some who had served in executive positions of power on the state level as well as federal level. Amid this kaleidoscopic interest in becoming president of the United States, a New York business personality emerged as the ultimate nominee for the Republican Party. His name was Donald Trump. Now, whatever anyone thinks of his policy, his racial views, maybe his brash personal style, however you feel about his general relationship with the truth, or however you categorize his character, he won. That's that. He won. Many Democrats were disappointed, but as the wide world of sports slogan used to ring out in our living rooms, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. It does not fade away, nor does it hide behind the shades of obscurity. It is ubiquitous, and whatever our political membership, we must adjust and embrace the results because the people have spoken. I became politically aware of how our country operated its presidential elections during the presidency of George H.W. Bush, the father of the later Bush. In 1992 was the first time I heard a concession speech from him as he accepted the will of the people and transferred the power of the office to then the young past governor of Arkansas, William Jefferson Clinton. And from him to George Bush, the son, who subsequently kept the tradition alive as he transferred the power of the presidency to Barack Obama. And of course, Obama transferred it to Donald Trump, the present occupant of that office. President Obama did something that was unusual. He did what was expected even after he was the subject of vitriol and vilification from the man who would assume the office he was vacating. Life is a funny thing. The loquacity of loose lips can launch and mobilize opponents of our views and nurture a thirst of replacing us without our seeing how well they stack up against us. Mild manners, profiles in humility, and a caring heart still moves mountains that stand in our way. It has been said, revenge is best served cold. But we should remember to keep our words sweet, because one day we might have to eat them. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It has been said that power in the wrong hands is a recipe for personal destruction. This has never been more true than in the life of Dominique Washington. Her games would become her grief. Her unbridled lust and selfishness would be interwoven in her plots. The shocking revelations, jaw-dropping surprises emerged when she realized the lack of a personal core makes one hollow inside. And the cost of that inward emptiness can be incalculable. The invincibility and hubris to which she had grown accustomed would cloud her judgment, and the darkness of her own familiar behavioral patterns brought all to unknown discoveries of the influence the weak would have in her success. Then her doom would be the result of her rebellious nature to any source of authority. She does not imagine someone smart enough to outwit her. Later, she is so astonished at how she miscalculated the significance of a special love that it rocked her world. Her coveted justice would ultimately come in ways she never saw coming, and in ways she wished she had not.
Ah! Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Welcome back to Social Perspectives. These are my final thoughts. It's an honor to be human. The human being is endowed with the cognitive ability to reason through complex issues and recognize the inherent limitations to which we are all shackled. Our cognitive realm of thought might be vast. The innate ability to refine our thoughts may indeed be colossal. But make no mistake, they shrink to microscopic proportions when they are measured against the actions we take. Right now, it is not about being a Democrat nor a Republican. The philosophy of big government versus the philosophy of smaller government now fades in the midst of a midnight moment. Tax cuts, welfare reform, or pay increases though surely needed, are not at the top of the current American agenda. What is paramount right now is that we stand on the principles of American purpose and not the portentous plateaus of politics. It's time for America to act like the supreme nation of morality, fairness, and equality, and embrace the will of the American family that's all spread out in all of our states and territories. America is not led by dictators. She is led by the voices of national decisions through the voting process. Her greatness is not displayed in frivolous ostentation. Her greatness is the pride that lives in the hearts of the people who call her land home. Many events in the past have popped up to challenge the greatness of America, but America continued to shout out, "We will remain a nation built on freedom." Great Britain during the War of Independence wanted to corral America, but it discovered no one can shackle freedom. The Southern slave owners, with all the jurisprudence leaning in their direction, ultimately came to recognize you can't whip, beat, nor starve freedom to submit to something beneath its standards. And in the end, freedom, like the stately presence it is, marched off the plantations of oppression and headed to places and lands of opportunity. Because that voice of freedom was so moving, it served as energy to the dark feet of scars to march until they hear the last stanza of Free at Last. In 1955, a tired Rosa Parks felt the surge of freedom through her fatigue from labor. So she acted on it. With all the killings and all the beatings, black bodies continued to fight because freedom is in our vessels. As a child, I was taught a song at Hollowell Wellington Kindergarten in Laurinburg, North Carolina. That song was, "My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died. Land of the pilgrim's pride from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. My honorable brothers and sisters of political distinction who occupy lofty places of government, please listen to the bombastic voices who make this land what it is by honoring their action, and let freedom reign." We'll be right back. Welcome back to Social Perspectives. As we prepare to leave you, we want you to know that we appreciate your support. We're able to do this because of the generosity of many of our viewers. Those of you who would like to continue to help us keep our community informed and aware, please send all of your tax-deductible gifts to Renaissance Ministry at MBBC, P.O. Box 1078, Fairmont, North Carolina 28340. That's Renaissance Ministry at MBBC, P.O. Box 1078, Fairmont, North Carolina 28340. And now, Rough Got Rhymes will close out our show.
Help me get her to watch me spin.
Let's run them racks up.
Big racks on my mind, let's stack up M&M's. I'ma need a new safe so I can walk in it. Flipping currencies, thank God for the internet. It's like I got the whole world in my palm, baby. I was broken, make some hundreds from a thought. From that moment, put my mind on what I really wanted. I said no limits, I told God I want it all. Put me in the game, I'ma ball like LeBron. And thought I was just a rapper till they see me on the screen. How long I'm gonna be humble till I make them notice me? They don't like to give you credit when they know you really a G. I don't need their credit if they can't help me get leads. Running up a check, stay out the way and mind my business. Save a portion of the winnings I established rich. Habits, seeing millions in my dreams, I'ma turn them to reality. Making a minute what I used to make on salary. Racks on my mind, let's stack up M&M's. I'ma need a new safe so I can walk in it. Flipping currencies, thank God for the internet. It's like I got the whole world in my palm, baby. I was broken, make some hundreds from a thought. From that moment, put my mind on what I really wanted. I said no limits, I told God I want it all. Put me in the game, I'ma ball like LeBron. And glad I made myself a boss, can't nobody fire me. Create jobs, tell the world that I'm higher. And if you say the best that you can do is inspiring, so I had to get it out the mud to show it's possible. I was on my back, but I had faith that I bounced back. Put a plan together, made a move, and I got racks. Make it come so fast, can barely tell that I'm spinning it. Call the fam, come get what you want from the dealership, I'm going in. Big racks on my mind, let's stack them to the ceiling. Bed money, go to sleep, wake up with me. Big racks on my mind, let's stack up M&M's. I'ma need a new safe so I can walk in it. Flipping currencies, thank God for the internet. It's like I got the whole world in my palm, baby. I was broken, make some hundreds from a thought. From that moment, put my mind on what I really wanted. I said no limits, I told God I want it all. Put me in the game, I'ma ball like LeBron. And big racks on my mind, let's stack up M&M's. Flipping currencies, thank God for the internet.